Welcome everyone. This is Dr. Francois du Toit, naturopathic doctor, wellness coach, and massage therapist. Coming to you live from George here in the slightly more cold and cloudy Garden Route, and it is a beautiful day. I'm very grateful to be able to speak to you again. It's the first of the recordings that I'm doing this year, and the topic for today that we'll be delving into together is the power of family, connections, community, your tribe, where your heart lands, where you feel at home, where you can be yourself, and where you have safety to express yourself. There are so many people in this world that are homeless, even though they're staying with a roof over their heads, because they are living a fake life, an unauthentic life. And I have such compassion for every single individual in this world that is living that way, because so much of it is a result of the way we were brought up and the cultures, or the culturescape, as said by the Mind Valley community and Vishen Lakiani, is very much the way we are shaped. What we caught, not so much what we taught. What we see is who we become. Little boxes, little boxes. It's a song you can search for on every streaming platform you listen to music. And we all look the same, potentially, living and growing up in the industrialized world. So much became cleansed, homogenized, sterile, and looking all pretty much the same. The institutionalized systems, our schooling systems, the structures that are developed and who are in place to, yes, make us feel safe and delegate authority to the powers that be. But at the end of the day, it's all pretty bland and tasteless. My listeners will know and understand that I stand for individual, unique, and authentic human expression. We live for expression. We live to live a life of abundance, joy, and peace. These things are not found in the conventional, sterile, boxed, and institutionalized structures that we were brought up in. At least not in the holistic way that every single human being deserves. And why? Because abundance is our birthright. We live in an abundant world, we live in an abundant universe. It doesn't take a lot of time spending time in nature or looking up at the sky at night and to the stars to recognize that abundance is everywhere, and we ourselves are also a reflection of that abundance. When we have the time, when we take the time, or prioritize the time, to really look and really see the beauty of nature, of everything around us. And what you see is who you become. Literally, what do you focus on? Your mindset is who you become. And when you meditate and when you spend time in nature and when you look and appreciate and are just struck by the awe and the beauty of your surroundings, those actual things that you see as awe-inspiring or beautiful is going to be completely different to any single human being on the planet right now and any other human being that's even ever lived in the history of mankind. For me, it might be being drawn to a bird. For you, you might be drawn to a leaf on a tree. To another person, it's the glistening droplets on a grass leaf splintering into rainbow colors. Each person sees something and it means something to that person. And it will mean one thing in particular. So we can all look at exactly the same thing, like, for example, that glistening droplet of dew on a grass blade. And I will see the red in that glistening rainbow colors that glistens off from the sunlight. And you might see the green, another person sees the blue, another person is awe-inspired by the water droplet itself. Another person is awe-inspired by how this water droplet is being balanced so gently on that blade of grass. So your attention is being drawn to the blade of grass. And then that one thing that draws your attention means one thing to you. Like in the first example, if I'm drawn by the color red that's rainbow cascading off that droplet, red maybe means fire or passion or love, or I'm reminded about my heart space, will mean something to you. And when you start to understand that meaning that's unique and authentic to you, you really start to understand what makes you come alive, and you're drawn more and more to a unique and authentic expression of who you really are and who you really want to be as an expression outside into the world. And drawing back to this, where does that heart space, when it is fully expressed, live? In what home? Not the roof over your head. The connections, the community, the family that shares those ideals, those values, those dreams, those things that you hold close to your heart. Where do you feel safe to express yourself, that unique self that is passionate or joyful or laughs or likes to dance and sing or create music, spending time in conversation with like-minded people? Where does that full heart expression live? Where does it find its home? Where does it find its shelter? That is the full, what is, as I can describe it in my limited capacity, that is the full expression of an authentic and abundant family. You can call it a soul tribe, you can call it many things, but it is where you come alive and you can be fully yourself and look completely different to the person next to you, but there is a shared value. It will look different from one tribe to one community to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And this is where travel and socialization in different settings, in different places, outside of your town, outside of your city, even outside of your country, in different cultures, in different countries, is valuable. Because experience is worth its weight in gold, more than me talking, more than courses. Even though courses and taking decades and condensing it into a day, like the workshops that I present, and I've been a very fortunate participant in to be able to even start to vocalize what I'm sharing to you today. It's about going out there and experiencing different tribes, different families, different connections, different social settings, different ways of expressing the humanness of us, what we enjoy doing with our bodies, with our voices, and living life to the full and sharing it with other people. Because, experiences are so much richer with other people. I know you could say, the more and more digitalized internet information age that we are in, literally, many people have moved away from more socialization structures that was always in place, always part of human history, as ancient as humankind is. Spending time around a fire, that's thankfully a very big part of South African culture. Having a good braai. These things are essential to humans, to us. We need the local watering hole, the place to get together and chat and get the news. We grow and thrive in those settings. But technology has come in with all its benefits and conveniences, even me being able to record this message with my microphone and my video recorder. Let us just stop and reflect that it cannot come at the price of us living an abundant life. And it's so much more abundant when we're out there with other people and experiencing it through their eyes in many ways, or seeing it from their eyes in terms of what we see and also the conversations that follow. In fact, I'm specifically thinking about how much of the cinema culture, the theatre culture, has dwindled. Here in South Africa, the different movie cinemas are really taking a punch, and they took a severe punch during the lockdowns, the COVID pandemic, and most people are watching streaming movies, and yes, I'm also one of those people. But I'm also going back to the theatres again. I'm going back to the cinema again, the movie theatres again. Why? Not just for the big screen, that's also amazing, and the beautiful sound, that's also amazing. But you feel a different vibe when there's a lot of other people watching the same movie, and you hear their laughter, you hear their chatter, and you feel the energy in the air. The atmosphere is different, and the experience is more vibrant and alive. So whatever makes your heart come alive with other people, go out there and look for it. Step by step. If you're concerned or scared or have social anxiety, I know I had social anxiety. I had severe social anxiety growing up. In fact, it was never me, it was my culture that taught me to be that way. And it was a tremendously tough journey to stand up in public and do speaking and to do the first video recording, what I did, how many ever, 12 years ago or more years ago. Wherever you are, take a step, take a practical move to other human beings, other people, to human interaction. And to my listeners that are already on this journey, I would just encourage you, take a bold and courageous leap of faith to discover your tribe, your family, your soul connections, where you feel loved and where you feel embraced, even where people are actually more than just okay, they're open to hugging each other. Because human connection is also physical connection. I'm a massage therapist, and I'm very grateful that I was taught massage therapy as part of my naturopathic degree, and it took me on this path to start to realize and appreciate the power of human touch and how much people need it. And you don't know how much you need it until you're actually in any sort of capacity or human connection where physical touch is involved. And we need it, and we grow from it. As a, let's say, a study, a scientific example, there's this country where they had, I think this was a wartime period, or it could have been a famine period, but the number of orphans increased dramatically. And they literally had to buy up buildings and suddenly convert them to nurseries because these babies were coming in, orphans, and they were filling up rooms and halls and corridors. And there just wasn't the capacity, the food, the staff, the nursing staff, to be able to actually care for all of these baby orphans. And what they started to recognize was, even though they thankfully they were able to get the funding, and I'm sure this is one thing, thank you government, be able to support them with food and shelter. So they had actually enough of those things I forgot to mention. They had the food, they had the shelter, they had the bare necessities, but they were severely understaffed. And they started to recognize baby after baby after baby dying, because there wasn't enough human hands to pick up the babies and hold them and speak to them. So they were dying because of lack of physical touch. And that never changes, even though, yes, as an adult you can live for a long, long time, be it days or months or years, without maybe any other human being potentially touching you. That is surviving, that is not thriving. And I thank you for listening to me and coming on to this video recording wherever it's published or uploaded on the internet. I trust that it's inspired you to go out there and find your tribe, live your soul purpose, and live in abundance, and live in even more joy and peace than you ever thought was possible. And if your family didn't serve you in the way that you thought, family is such a narrow description of what family can be when you look at a tribe, at a community, and at these soul connections with like-minded people. I encourage you to go out there and find where you can thrive and where you feel safe to express yourself in a deep and authentic way. Thank you. Like and subscribe wherever this is published so that I can create more content like this, and share this with anyone and everyone that you know so we can all grow in a more abundant society of thriving communities. Love, peace, and keep well.